Chapter 13, Exhaustion. And first place in the 200-meter freestyle, the 1500-meter freestyle, the 200-meter breaststroke, the 100-meter butterfly, and the 400-meter medley goes to... As we filled our cups, the Grey Wolf's low, gravelly voice rasped, "Listen, subjects. Erim is watching her state times. Hers may be holding back. She's thinking running only pawn skill. Keeping energies of later. Reason short stage done first day. Neglect speed, and she's not remain on Skokie board. She's will surprised of often power pieces not have transport. Need move fast." Stayed and Skokie made zero sense to me, and I wasn't understanding pawn, power piece, or even transport in context. At least I understood her name. They were Cobal, Gressin, and Erim. "And subjects," the darker brown-black striped Gressin added, "remember, not only power and agility that masters are watching. She's are evaluated all times, of her attitude, of her mind strength, her compliance of instructions. She can perform well next of others and be deleted." I tried to pay attention, but so much didn't make sense, and I was exhausted and starving. No one had to sweet-talk me into slamming the tasteless goo. I even licked out the cup. We left the cafeteria feeling slightly better, all except for 17. She got caught trying to whisper something to a friend and had to spend the rest of the break pouring white slop over her head, shouting, "Her mouth is of eating, not of talking." Some of the other girls snickered at her, probably because they were relieved it wasn't them being humiliated. I was already so tired I was beyond caring much, and it was only the second meal of the day. Beyond caring. That was the theme. If I had a choice, I wouldn't have run another step that day. Between the physical strain, the yelling and snarling, and the raw fear, I was relatively sure I was being actively murdered. My quads were finished. I didn't have the energy to move like the trainers wanted, even though I felt like I was always giving it everything I had. I kept thinking, dig deeper, push harder. But seriously, for me, it couldn't get any deeper or harder than what I was giving. Fortunately, after the second meal, they gave the mist challenge another chance. I was more ready for it this time, the creepy thing popping out of the water. I threw my ball at it, which made it jerk to a stop, so I clapped my hands and threw another one, and another, until it finally exploded, and I focused on a new target. "Yes, Bishop!" one of the trainers exploded in my ear. "This is to kill the Iroquois pawns! Do it again!" They came pretty hard and fast. The flashing number at the end said I didn't get any more than 10 in a single session that day, but at least it gave my legs a rest, and it was a different movement for my arms. And that was the rest of the day. An endless cycle of run, wrestle, and throw, interrupted by exercises as punishment, nasty water, and the occasional potty break where we barely had enough time to pee. I lost track of time. Like I said, my legs were shot. My arms were shot. My mind was completely numb. I didn't think about things. I didn't even try. I ignored the pain in my body and did what I was told. I was afraid of being singled out again, afraid of being hit. There was no end to look forward to, no goal to reach for other than the end of the stage, the evil crabs to take over, the end of the wrestling match. The only benchmarks I had were meals, and we had something like 6 of those. Or maybe 5? More than 3, that's for sure, and the trainers had to have seen how our performance declined throughout the day. Sometime after 6th meal, though, after a long workout session that I spent more time struggling to hold a plank rather than kicking out or pushing up or whatever it was they were barking about, and a hit of water, and they had us all on the air trainers again. "Now she's finished. One more stay," Cobal called. "Next 250 counts. Straight is faster. Fast as she can. Each of hers be a knight. Slow piece, dead piece." I believed her. Tired as I was, When she told me this was the last one, I whipped myself into a desperate, if not particularly fast, sprint. My best effort still had me trailing the pack. Run a few steps, hop on a ridge, run a few steps, hop down, lean a bit left to ramp onto a ridge. Now the part where the bridge is bent, so they lay across the path rather than parallel. My legs felt stumpy and wooden, but I managed to lob myself over without tripping. Then they bent back, and I had nothing but a long straightaway where trainers urged us to end strong. Move, Algie! Smooth is fast! Smooth is fast! Winner or nothing! Go, go, go! I finished last. Of like 100 people here, I was the slowest, despite my effort. What a kick in the gut to know I could be outperformed so easily. Some collapsed at the end, sprawled out on the sand, heaving to push out used air and suck new oxygen in. I copied the majority, who kept moving, shoulder blades elevated, lungs clear. My head was light, and my eyes kind of darkened for a moment. This is what dying felt like. I was sure of it. Terrible stayed, Cobalt shouted. Not even pawn stayed. That was rook stayed. Again for masters. The other two barked at the others to get up. Black doom flooded my soul. It hadn't been the last stayed. This one wouldn't be either. They were messing with us. Didn't matter what we did. I felt like quitting, just lying out flat and letting them kill me. 2 other girls did, but they decided getting kicked in the ribs was worse, so they got up, but you could tell they were done. So was I. I could run, but I couldn't even try to jump anymore. I wanted to quit, but I couldn't, and I think my mind broke. I couldn't quit, but I couldn't moderate myself anymore either, so I decided, lining up again, I was going to do the opposite of quit. I was going to run so hard I'd make my heart explode. When I crossed the starting line, I poured it on. I held nothing back. I forced those 2 peg legs up to and past the limit of what they were able. I didn't bother trying to make the jumps anymore. My legs couldn't take it. I already knew. They almost locked on a simple step up, so I just followed the curve of the ridges as best I could. Then they completely gave out. My legs quit moving. They flopped under me and I fell. Even a tired, sluggish brain can think super fast, and the whole way down it was telling me what an idiot I was and how much this was going to hurt. Maybe I'd get a concussion, a broken nose. I was going too fast to catch it on the knees, so I'd have to take it on the face. Maybe I could reach out with my arms and snap my wrists. Instead, I landed on a cushion of air. Oh yeah, air trainer in a big white room, not a dusty canyon floor. I wearily pushed myself back up and tried to stand, but my legs cramped and buckled, and I stifled a scream. I'd hit total muscle failure. In my freaking legs. Gresson was on top of me before I knew what happened, barking and snarling. Took me a few seconds to realize she wasn't berating me, though. Finally, Sapiens find her limit. Good stayed. This is what she does every time. Yes, weak, slow Pontiki, but she tries. She howled at the sky and stabbed me in both legs. I screamed, mostly in fear, but it was a weak, ragged sound that barely registered above a squeak. Injection. She needs her legs tomorrow. The brownish-gray monster woman massaged my thighs with rough, powerful, clawed hands. 14 is finished. Now, get up, walk, make serum soak into muscles. Go, Pontiki. As Cobalt herded us, stumbling over the trail of tiles and back to our rooms, I couldn't decide if Gresson's words were a good thing or an ominous sign for the future. Cobalt, for one, looked sullen and angry. She had us line up back to the wall like we had when this awful day started. Worst beginning day Cobalt ever knows, she announced grimly, again with paws behind her back. Sapiens can't run, she's can't throw, she's can't fight, and even her Polly is embarrassment of watching. Not even want to see her ugly faces. She's make Cobalt wish to return. 1 to 50 in the left, 51 to 100 on right. Get in her rooms. Cobalt deal with hers tomorrow. The 2 doors opened and tiles lit to show us the way. When the last girl shuffled in, the doors sealed shut and vanished.